The groinal response. Have you ever heard of the groinal response? Can you guess what it is? Many struggle with this, in addition to their topic or theme of OCD, such as pedophile OCD or sexual orientation OCD. The term groinal response is used to identify any change or reaction in the groin area or your private area after an intrusive thought or intrusive images, such as a tingling, swelling, or even small movements. So, if you have movement down there after a sexual intrusive thought about a child or someone maybe of your same gender, it must mean something, right? I mean, it's got to. That's what your brain's telling you. So let's find out. Hi, my name is Nathan Peterson. I am a specialist with OCD and anxiety-related disorders. I create videos every single week on different mental health issues such as OCD, anxiety, and many other topics. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so you do not miss any of those, and hit the bell so you get alerted right when the video launches. So the groinal response, we've got to talk about it. A majority of the world has intrusive thoughts. Did you know that? Like thoughts that just keep coming back to the person's mind. They don't really want them. They keep coming back. Sometimes it can be weird. They can be all over the place. Even thoughts that people don't actually believe. Even thoughts that people do believe, but that thought contradicts who they are as a person. It is very common to have sexual intrusive thoughts. These intrusive thoughts can be with anyone, with anything. Meaning the individual can have a sexual intrusive thought about an adult, about a child, about an animal, about objects, about someone that's not their spouse, not their girlfriend, not their boyfriend. Some may have sexual intrusive thoughts about somebody that is possibly of their same gender, questioning if I'm gay or not because I'm having this response. When the world has these intrusive thoughts, they tend to see it as something that's kind of just strange. They're like, well, that was a weird thought, and then they move forward. They think about it maybe for like a few seconds, and their brain moves forward like, well, that was a weird thought. But when it comes to OCD, these individuals may have these exact same intrusive thoughts, but their OCD is putting a lot of value on it, a lot of power. It's saying, this must mean something. That is where this groinal response comes into play with all this. Because if I have this thought, I have this feeling, it's gotta mean something. When somebody has an intrusive sexual thought, they wanna figure it out. They wanna figure out if what they're experiencing is true, if it's real, how do I know? They will go through anything to discover if this is accurate or not. Meaning, am I really attracted to that child? Am I possibly a pedophile? But would I really do something with somebody else? Am I gay? I'm having these thoughts, I'm having these feelings. That is where the super hyper awareness comes into play as well. When we look for evidence in our body and our brain, we'll look for anything to verify what we're experiencing. We're problem solvers. That's just what we do. We want to know everything. Simply, these intrusive sexual thoughts may lead you to be constantly monitoring yourself, checking your genitals, checking your private areas. This attention and the anxiety you're feeling may increase the blood flow and increase the physical arousal that you don't actually want. This can make you feel like you are aroused by the intrusive thought when in fact the opposite is true. And this is why it's called the groinal response. Like I said earlier, wouldn't you think that because you're getting this physical response to this intrusive sexual thought, that it must mean something? Your brain's screaming at you that it must. It's gotta be there. There's gotta be that connection. This can really make somebody believe that these arousal symptoms are evidence of their unconscious desires. I mean, that is what we've learned through our entire life, right? When we can physically feel something, our brain goes into this problem-solving mode. Figure out what's going on. For instance, if I had a stomach ache, I may scan my body, figure out what's going on. What did I eat that possibly caused this stomach ache? How long is it going to last? What does it mean? If my back hurts, my brain comes up with a conclusion that I must have done something to hurt my back. Maybe I sat wrong. Maybe it was those weights that I lifted earlier. So when individuals are having this groinal response, their brain is doing the same thing. What is it that caused this emotion? What is it that caused this physical sensation? It turns it into almost a fact for the person. Individuals may experience any reaction to an intrusive thought that they don't really want. They may experience erections, they may experience blood flow, sensations, tingling. These individuals who struggle with this try to reason with themselves that these thoughts are not true. This cannot be correct. But why am I having these feelings? These feelings are verifying to me that this is true and real. I find that this can be such a roadblock for so many people, that when we're trying to do treatment for OCD, we tend to think that the physical symptom is such a big indication and a verification for the thoughts. So when we're taking power and value away from the thoughts, that physical symptom is screwing it all up for us. This is called emotional reasoning. This is assuming because we feel a certain way that the thought must be true. It's making that connection. So as a recap, the term groinal response is used to identify any change or reaction in the groin area, your private area, after an intrusive thought, an intrusive image, a tingling, a swelling, a movement. When I talk about this response, it's easy to think that only males are the ones experiencing this, but this is so untrue. Arousal symptoms can be slightly different from men to women. With men, it can seem pretty obvious what that response might mean. With women, it can cause the same arousal. They may experience tingling, blood flow, moisture. I don't think people like that word, moisture. Did you know that individuals can have this physical response in the relationship? Meaning they may see somebody else that's not their boyfriend, not their girlfriend, not their spouse, and have this same response. This causes them to think that they really don't love their partner. If I get this response, must mean I really don't care about them. This is a normal, natural reaction that everyone is experiencing. But when it comes to the OCD brain, it puts so much attention to it, so much meaning to it. It must mean something. That is where a lot of the anxiety comes into play. So the three biggest types of OCD that I see these individuals who experience this groinal response is POCD, pedophile OCD, HOCD or sexual orientation OCD or relationship OCD. Some really common compulsions that I tend to see individuals do is just adjusting themselves, adjusting the way they sit or the way that their pants touches their body. They want to make sure they do anything they can to avoid this possible sensation. They don't want to cause this feeling on purpose. They do not want to get aroused, so they'll walk in a certain way, they'll sit in a certain way. They may only wear shorts or loose clothing. Let me research online to see if this is normal to have this response. Ask my parents, ask my friends, is this okay? They may ask for reassurance from other people. They will try to problem solve in their heads. They'll look at their whole self, everything about themselves, journals in the past. Do the thoughts mean what I think they mean because I'm getting this feeling? These compulsions make the person believe that they are gaining certainty when really they're actually just becoming more trapped within their OCD. I do my best to not provide reassurance that you're not gay, that you're not going to cheat on your partner, that you're not really a pedophile. We don't say those things because we know that that doesn't help. Accepting uncertainty is always the best route when it comes to the treatment of OCD. You think about the reassurance you may ask other people. How in the world is a therapist, is your mom, is your friend, anybody going to know these answers for you? So when you're asking, do you think that I'm gay? How in the world am I gonna know that? How is your parent gonna know that? And realistically, we don't need to know. We don't need to figure this stuff out. The information is not important. What is important is that you're experiencing OCD. Sometimes it can get so tricky because people want to remind themselves that this arousal is not real, it means that I have OCD, but they have to keep reminding themselves of this. This can definitely be a form of a compulsion. So we try to stay away from this the best that we can. We try not to figure it out anymore. So what is the treatment? The treatment is called exposure and response prevention. When it comes to this, our top priority, our goal is to take power away from the thoughts, from the sensations, to say, you know what, totally. I had this thought about this child. I had this physical sensation, this groinal response. It probably means that I am. I don't know. We'll see in the future. you're not responding to it the way that you used to respond to it. You're not having this responsive tear anymore. When it comes to this sensation, you're like, sweet man, there it is again. I love when my body does this, especially when it's connected to these thoughts. Think about what your brain's gonna learn when you do something like that. It's gonna say like, what in the world are you doing? You're supposed to figure this out. I can't believe you're not doing that right now. This is really important, you're in danger. But when you're not acting like you're in danger, your brain's gonna learn that you're actually okay. This sensation may mean something, it may not, but it's not your job to figure that out anymore. It's not your job to avoid having this feeling. You're just gonna live your life. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it's connected to a thought, it's connected to a thought. But we're not saying that thought doesn't mean something, that feeling doesn't mean something. We're not doing that anymore. Exposure and response prevention means that you are no longer figuring this out. Your job is to stay uncertain and face the unknown. It's okay for you to start noticing that something is happening. It's gonna be really hard to say, just ignore that you're having those feelings down there. But we're not trying to justify why it's happening. Your job is to notice it's happening and take the power away from it. Be like, sweet, I love it, that's great. The sensation's wonderful. I hope it keeps happening throughout the day. That would be so great. Especially if I'm in class, man, that'd be wonderful. How about in the middle of the night? That'd be great if I woke up with something like that. Wonderful, I hope I get these feelings. Please come back to me throughout the day. That would be so great. So do you need a little extra help with your OCD? I've created an online course that takes you through understanding yourself, your own OCD, and the treatment. This takes you through all the evidence-based treatment strategies. It's anything that I would teach individuals in my office, has worksheets, videos, takes you through everything, as if you were starting your own treatment. I'll link it in the description below. And here's my question for you. What has been the toughest part about your OCD symptoms? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, when it comes to your OCD, it is your job to face the unknown.